Hey guys, it's WaifuGate here again. So today we're going to be going over this is tips and tricks. This is Tuesday. We try to do this each week. So here we're going to kind of demonstrate how to use stops or full control in order to bluff. So there are a few things that kind of go into this. So the first thing is that you don't want to make it obvious that you're super bluffing. So timing is very important. For example, this is Sparky too. So of course we usually bring in Sparky for the tips and tricks because it's just easy to kind of walk through the process, and I don't have a timer to deal with in a real game. So the important thing here, we're just gonna scry. I'm putting that on bottom because it's a card that makes this kind of poor. So for example, here, if we put a stop, our opponent knows that we might have something for 1 mana, like a cycle, or I have an opt, maybe. That's what we're representing here. This stop makes it so that when they try to pass their phase, we let them know that we might have something or that we might be bluffing. So there are some benefits and some disadvantages to doing this type of thing. So she's going through all the phases here. She has full control on, I think. Or he. I don't know what Sparky is. So now this becomes... this kind of ruins the engine for us in regards to showing the end stops. So like, if we want, now that we have Omen, we don't really need to set the end stop because we have something. But if we didn't have Omen in our hand, if this was just gone, for example, then we don't have anything that makes the engine stop. Okay. So we need to, if we want to represent a counter spell, we maybe put a stop here, maybe here. But if we take, if we want to do priority stuff, we have to think about what we're representing. Because if we just simply hold full control all the time, our opponent, if they're thinking about it, probably knows that we're just bluffing because it's stopping at every single stop. Whereas if you put it here and then it gives them the stop when they go to cast something during their main phase, then they might think we have a counter spell. So you have to think about what you want to represent in your deck. Like if you're running green-black, for example, you might want to represent Murderous Rider to kill Teferi or something, or one of their planeswalkers, maybe a flash creature like Blacklance Paragon, etc. You want to think about what you want to bluff. Otherwise, you're just holding full control and your opponent knows that you have nothing. Like, you'll just give it away. So you have to think about what you want to represent in your colors, what those important things are. Usually this is more or less in the control matchup, right? Because like if you're aggro and you're going against Teferi, it's not really going to matter because your opponent like might assume that you have a Shark Typhoon to cycle or something else. So it's just something that you have to think about. What you want to represent and such. So like this just sort of ruins the example, but it's kind of hard to demonstrate in reality, like against Sparky. It'd probably be better if I had like a gameplay thing to reveal. See, I just put the stop here, but this is sort of ruining it anyway. So like we can flash this in, and if we hold full control here, we can kind of do that type of stuff. Fabled Passage is also another one of those ones that will just give you priority without having to do anything. So you can look for cards that do that for you just so you don't have to think about it as well. And now this scry will give us priority. Like whenever we go to pass turn now, we have a priority trigger because of this and because of Fabled now. So when you have stuff like that, you don't really need to hold full control or anything else. But just think about what you want to represent. If you want to represent Mystical Dispute, you have to be really timely with this and this. And sometimes it's like, it'll come down to reaction speed. And it's really fun for me sometimes because I like to min-max stuff. So like my opponent will, I think they might cast a spell main phase. So I have a mouse macro that lets me go full control by clicking the mouse wheel. So I'll be like, bam, and then like just to try to make it so that when they go to cast Omen of the Sea or Teferi, that it looks like I might have a reaction. So maybe I have a Shark Typhoon and they start playing around that or something. There's also the other side of the coin where you spam your pass priority button. I have a macro for that as well on my mouse, but you spam your pass priority button. That way, your opponent doesn't know that you have a reaction if you're fast enough, which is cool. Because then your opponent will be like, oh, they don't have anything, like there was no delay there, so therefore I can down tick my Teferi and draw a card because I don't think they have Shark Typhoon because I'm reading the engine. And there's a love-hate relationship I have to the engine like this in regards to, you know, bluffing or giving away my opponent, like information to my opponent. Like in Paper Magic, when you have actual cards and you have like 2 cards in your hand or 3 cards, but they're all lands, you can like act like you're thinking to your opponent's reactions and stuff. And that dimension of the game is lost now in Arena to some extent, you know? So you have to make up for it in other ways and just sort of, you know, live the life that we live in right now, which is reading the engine and trying not to get blown out by bluffs or whatever else. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I do tips and tricks on every Tuesday. I do like underrated card of the week. We do a video like every single day on YouTube. So if you guys like the content, feel free to subscribe, like, whatever you feel like. And if you don't feel like leaving a question or a comment below, you can always stop by my stream and we can chat. You know, and I will catch you guys next time for the video for tips and tricks. Hopefully it'll be a little easier to set it up this time. I know this wasn't the best, but hopefully it gave you some insight on maybe how to be more aware of the engine, at least, even if you're not going to utilize this every single game, just to know what your opponent might be bluffing or not bluffing, etc. So, and yeah, hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys soon.